Dear viewers, today I am going to dwell on a topic which can relate to almost all of us. When we work on something, it is quite natural for us to aim for the success and to hope for the positive outcome. But when you start working on that, as you go ahead on your journey, nothing can be, it can't be like a cakewalk and it can't be like a bed of roses and in any of your endeavors. That's not going to be a smooth sail and a lot of hardship and a lot of effort and a lot of determination, all that you need to put in, and nothing comes free. To that part, of course, only when you are determined and work hard upon it, the success is highly probable. But in addition to the efforts made, there is another element, what is called the hope and positive thinking must be there, and without which you cannot go ahead in doing your to go ahead with the efforts. But what is quite antagonizing to this hope and positive thinking is negative thinking, and quite often we are troubled by this negative thinking. When you work upon something in your journey, as you go ahead on your journey, there are questions popping up in the mind, doubting the possibility of a positive outcome, and then remaining of pitfalls in your attempt, and any of the possible difficulties on your journey leading to the success. Suppose you are preparing for an exam to appear. When you start preparing, you start only with the hope and only with the hope that you are going to succeed. You start off your journey and you work on it and you start preparing for the exam. So far, so good. But as you go ahead, when you are working on it, looking at the workload you are supposed to handle and looking at the task that you need to achieve, sometimes it can really cause a sense of doubt in you, questioning yourself whether you are in a position to, are you able to really achieve this target, and it remains of every other possibility regarding the time management and regarding your ability and even regarding any other possible disturbances on your journey on your way to success. It is quite natural for anybody to come across these negative thoughts when you are working on something. But what is more important here is no mind is free from this negative thinking, no exception. So all those who are working on something, hoping for a success, those minds, they are likely to come across these kinds of negative thinking, which keep on questioning your abilities and then magnitude of the task and then probability of the success and hindrances on your path and all the odds and what are the pros and what are the cons, and particularly the different the possible difficulties that you are likely to come across, and we conveniently call it as a negative thinking. And there is every possibility for some to give up, to quit in their attempts while in their operation, because they are troubled so much by this so-called negative thinking that it incapacitates them, and then they cannot think further and do anything further, and they give up in the middle all of a sudden. So we call them quitters. But there is one positive aspect for this negative thinking. So the first thing that I would like to suggest to you is you stop calling it as negative thinking. It is not negative thinking at all. Say for example, if you are riding a bike or any vehicle on a road which is unknown to you, it's a strange way to some other destination which is not familiar to you, and it is quite natural for you to operate carefully, looking for the potholes and whether the road is even or whether the ride is going to be bumpy. Take enough caution and then look around for any kind of obstacles that you might come across on your way when you're riding on a new path in an unknown place. And similarly, when you are working on something, this mind, it is trying to convey and it is preparing a sort of a checklist, and it keeps on reminding you about the strengths and weaknesses all along your in your endeavor leading to success. Suppose if it is doubting your ability, it is just reminding you how capable you are at the moment in aiming for what you are aiming. And it is asking you to examine the areas of weakness and then strengthen them. And it is not actually incapacitating you, and it is in no way discouraging. In fact, I would rather call this negative thinking as a checklist that is popping up in the mind when you are working on something. So suppose if you are doubting your own ability, it is nothing but it is reminding you to assess yourself, to examine yourself, to test the areas of weakness and then strengthen them, and then make yourself equipped with the strength that is needed for your journey to go ahead with the success. And similarly, suppose if it is reminding you of the time frame, suppose if a negative thinking pops up in the mind saying that the time that is available is too short for you to achieve, probably it is asking you to hasten your working on it. The rate at which you are working on it, it is asking you to enhance. So similarly, whatever the negative thinking, whatever the domain of the endeavor that occurs in the form of a negative thinking in your mind, it is not actually negative thinking. It is actually a checklist that is reminding of all the possibilities where all you are likely to come across your difficulties, and is reminding you to attend to those areas of weaknesses and strengthen them on your way to success. So do not you give up calling them negative thinking, and you give up giving up. You treat this as a checklist and then treat them as a reminders, and you attend to whatever that is being reminded to you, and attend to those areas of weakness and try to strengthen them, so that the very so-called negative thinking itself can be turned into an effective tool in achieving what you're going to achieve. Thank you.